All right, Zach, we are back with the Lead with Empower podcast over here, and we're going to start off with a question. How do you eat an elephant?
How do you eat an elephant?
One freaking bite at a time.
At a time.
One bite at a time. So for the people that tuned into our previous episode, we talked a little bit about getting into some sort of like project or team building initiative or goal achievement scenario and planning for not just the start, but the middle and the end, and trying to put in a little bit of legwork on the front end of whatever it is that you're trying to do, whatever goal it is that you're trying to achieve or task that you have to complete. The fallout is always when groups kind of figure out, oh, this is how we get started, and then over time they don't ever figure out what do we do when we get close to the finish line. And it kind of sets up this next, and we joked, no one's eating elephants. All right, I haven't had
Please,
it, haven't tried
promise.
it. Don't plan on it. A little pinky promise.
I love we have to have that disclaimer in there.
Disclaimer in, we do not eat elephants.
Eat elephants.
But it's funny when it's a stupid saying that I'll use periodically with groups because, again, Zach and I on a regular basis are working with groups in these team building environments, and we do have some very complex team building initiatives that with the right groups that will break out. And so often we'll explain it and explain all the rules, and then the participants are just staring at us like glazed over, jaws on the floor. Mister, we're not going to be able to do this. Mm-hmm. And we're like, all right, well, tell me why. Well, we got to move all these people. We got to move these logs, and there's these cinder blocks, and we don't know what to. And then the simple question will be, all right, well, how do you eat an elephant? And they're like, I know, that's gross. We don't eat elephant, blah, blah, blah. And it's that idea, this one bite at a time. So I'm interested to see, hear from you kind of, have you had similar experiences in your first year with groups and where they feel like we're giving them this most complex, unachievable task, when in reality, it's just kind of a lot of information at one time, and they're not quite sure how to process it all. They're thinking about this grand, huge project. What do you recommend, I guess, or what are some of the things that you see, and what do you recommend for people that maybe are feeling overwhelmed with something, whatever it is?
Yep. I think the simplest one, I know we used that on our last episode, but for pipeline, sometimes, especially when I was like a little bit more new over the spring and summer last year, is we'll put that bucket hundreds of feet or yards away from the starting line. And if you don't know pipeline, you drop a ball or a marble or a tennis ball, you have to start back at the starting line. And you could look at the bucket and it's like this big, like away from you. And I'm talking about it more of a physical analogy rather than the technical part of like the muse or something like that. And you look how far away, and you put that bucket 100 yards away on the football field, and you want us to put a marble in it. And like, they're like, that's ridiculous. And I'm like, is it? Like, have you tried it? Have you broke it down? Have you started a strategy for the first part, for the middle, and for the end? Did you even consider the fact that you're capable of doing this? So when there's a bigger project and all these rules and all these things for different activities, especially for the kids, I have to have that conversation with them. We're like, oh, we can't do that. That's their initial knee-jerk reaction when they haven't even started, not even started to try. They haven't even strategized. They just think it's too much, and that's that. And a cool part about pipeline specifically is the tubes that each person or participant has is what is it, 18 inches, 12 inches?
16, 18 inches in life, yeah.
Yeah. So, and you see a little marble go down inch by inch on yours, and that's your control. That's your time to shine. And you drop it off to the next person, and literally moves inches across yours to the next person. You go out in the front. But if you do that enough times, and you have enough control, and you have enough strategy, and you have a way to finish, you're going to get across that football field, no problem.
Yep.
But it's the daunting look of like that. I can't even see the bucket from here, but yet it's possible if you just take it one step at a time, one bite at a time.
And it's, simple idea again, right? A lot of this stuff, I think it's especially when you get out of the team building realm, where again it's perceived risk. Everything is somewhat controlled, and everything is sequenced, so it builds upon the previous experience and so on and so forth. When you're out in the real world, again, in trying to survive 7:30 to 3:30 school day, or a 9 to 5 work day, or managing going to your college classes, and then your job as a resident assistant or whatever it might be, it's very easy to wake up and look at that day or that week, or could be the semester, and it turns into this freaking giant project that's absolutely intimidating, and to a point where it can almost paralyze people from even trying to start. There's this
Right.
element of like feeling defeated before you even tried.
You're right.
And not only does that hesitancy prevent you from the accomplishment, but it also prevents you from making any sort of progress towards anything, because you're so fearful of like, holy crap, this is huge. I'm just going to avoid it and do something else, or not do anything at all. And it puts you in a spot where you're never taking a risk. You're never putting yourself out there for a great accomplishment.
And I think that's a great analogy for just the general of how people are when it comes to not achieving the goals that they're capable of, or the accomplishments that they want to become, or the person they want to become. They think that they're not worthy of it because they think of it like, that's too big. I can't, like, it's just too much. And it's untrue. You can do anything. And I hate to be the preacher guy that says it like that, but you can. And I think one of the cooler ways to do it is you just break it down into smaller tasks. So like, okay, becoming president might be a really, really big goal, but there are steps to get there. What's the first thing you might have to do to become president of the United States, and just start with that small. Start with that task.
Yep. And we talk a lot about momentum again here. If you can take the project and break, the elephant, right? We're going to take this elephant and break it down into these consumable bites.
Right.
And not to say that you have to start with the easiest thing. And we actually talked quite a bit about this when you first started working with us, that trying to find that balance of like, I just did a 3-hour team building program with 75 people. I'm back home sitting in front of my computer. It's tough having live it now, and lived it for the first time when we started, and you were in this boat last year. And I vividly remember our conversation about like, all right, what's that thing that you can do to go from, holy crap, I'm so tired, I'm
toasted,
I need a bite to eat, I need some water,
yeah.
I gotta let the dog out or use the bathroom or whatever it is. And then I do all that stuff, and it's like, how am I going to get myself back on the track of productivity?
Right.
And all right, what's that little low hanging fruit? What's that one thing?
Emails.
Like that task? Yeah. And to me, it's like, all right, let me open up my email. Let me see what came in while I was with the group, and let's get through a couple of them. Oh shoot, I got 5 emails. I replied to all of them. What's next?
So that I was just going to say, that's a good point of that example that you brought up. Is one of the easiest parts. This is getting very specific to my occupation, but like one of the easiest parts is like managing my emails. But like when you're coming back from a program like that in the blistering heat for hours on end with screaming middle schoolers, the last thing you want to do is like put your mind back into to work mode. But if you look, okay, you know what? I should answer that email. It's going to take me literally 15 seconds. So I go in and answer it. I'm like, oh, you know what? There's another one right there I can do. And it's a cascading effect. All of a sudden, like you might be starting a bigger project that you were started on last week, or whatever scenario that you have. But sitting down to take that small bite it makes a world of difference.
100%. And even like when we talked about, again, early on in your time with us, like putting together services agreements, it was in the beginning for you, it was almost like services agreements are like our
It's like,
contract we put together for groups.
yeah.
In the beginning for you, I wouldn't say it was paralyzing because you were working on stuff. But again, I remember some of those early conversations, like where the F do I start? Like,
Yeah.
And then again, I think like talking
Over time.
through it, what's the low-hanging fruit on a services agreement? It's the person's first and last name, their organization, their phone number. Get that on there first.
Put it on there. Yep.
All right, cool. What's the other stuff? Oh, we have a date when we ask them to return the contract to us by. Boom. And what happens over time, you take care of these little things and you're starting to feel more into it and you're feeling this rhythm. And now, all right, let me tackle the itinerary. I got their name and all their contact information. Cool. I know this. I want the service agreement to us about a month before the program so we can make sure everything's staffed up. What's next? Let me work on the group dynamic because I had some great information from my phone call with this potential client about who the group is and what they hope to get out of the experience. And I took some great notes. Boom. Let me get that in there next. Then you're facing the two most daunting tasks, in my opinion, of a services agreement, the itinerary and how to price it out. Okay, but now I'm going into those daunting tasks feeling good.
Yes,
I got a little mojo going. I'm feeling good.
You always do that at the programs, man. But like, I mean, to your point, you get all the basic stuff out of the way. You have maybe you started the itinerary, maybe you didn't, but okay, you go get a snack, you come back, and you be like, oh, I had that service agreement, but like, wait, I'm 70% done now. You know, I started it, I did the work, and now when I'm going into it, it's not like I'm going into it like looking at a blank piece of paper. Like I have a foundation, I have a draft, I can work off that.
Yep.
And like a metaphor for anything else, Like it's not this episode is not just about getting started. It's accomplishing something big by doing the small things.
Yep. And there was a video floating around, and it was before he slapped Chris Rock in the face.
Will Smith, yeah.
But there was a video about Will Smith, and it was a compilation of these different interviews he was part of, and it was a little bit motivational in nature, I guess. But he had talked about like you don't wake up in the morning and set out to build like a whole stone. I forget if it was a stone wall or a stone fence. He's like, you should get up and take one of those stones and do it to the best of your ability. And then the next day, you're going to lay that next stone down. And again, doing it to the best of your ability. And you kind of continue that process of like one brick at a time, one stone at a time. And then you'll be able to step back, look back and be like, holy smokes, like, look at what I built.
Yeah.
But I did it, one step at a time, one brick at a time.
Yeah. And I mean, I think another interesting take on that is I think a problem that people have with trying to accomplish a huge task, putting it into smaller pieces, and then failing at those pieces. Like not doing well with the small bites there that they're showing. Like, oh, I can't even do something this small. How am I going to get my accomplishment that I want a year from now or 6 months from now or whatever? Like, how is that going to, or an hour from now, whatever the scenario. So they keep failing at the small bites, but that's okay because maybe that stone that in your Will Smith analogy wasn't perfectly put down there the right way. But you put 1,000 more stones down, you're going to get pretty good at putting stones down. Not only will you have the wall that you want, but the how it looks is going to look a lot better than just willy-nilly not learning from each stone. So I think that people get discouraged is a good way for it. Discouraged when like, okay, a metaphor, this bite didn't go so well. I'm not going to try again. you know. So I think it's the more you try at that thing, the better you're going to get at that thing, and then the bites start adding up. You're going to start getting the bigger picture.
Yep, and that's this is a great segue into, and again, it's going to be a little while, but our the next episode that we put out, we're going to share again a pretty simple tactic. I like simple stuff. Life is complex as it is. Try to keep things simple that we can control. But we will introduce a simple tactic to help with what Zach just described. This idea of like, hey, what happens if it doesn't go as well as I wanted it to? Right? How do we take that little experience that's part of the journey, kind of dissect it, learn from it, pick and choose like, hey, this little bit of it worked. How do we maintain that and then fix the parts that are somewhat broken?
Yep, 100%. And I mean, my last point too is the positive side of it. Like you have this huge goal that seems daunting, and you broke it up into smaller pieces, and you have your first task, or you have your first bite, and it goes down well. Like it worked. The stone looks good. Like, okay, I got this now. Celebrate that little W.
Yeah.
Celebrate that win. And then that it will build on itself. And of course, Will Smith will say, like, build on itself. You'll have a stone wall in no time.
You'll build something exceptional. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, you have the right to celebrate the small bite that you just swallowed because you did it and you learned something from it and it looks good, or whatever analogy you want to talk about. And you cannot. This is another episode that we could talk about, but compare yourself to others with a very similar bite, with a very similar task, with a very similar goal, because that's their journey. They're gonna come up with issues that you're not gonna have yourself. So ignore that, celebrate your win, and then take on the next stone, next bite, next journey, next task.
Yep, love it. And again, we put these episodes out in pairs. In our previous one, we talked about breaking down a task and planning about the beginning and the middle and the end, and that's really your first step in taking something that's grand and breaking it down into smaller bites, and then you just take it a step further. Like, what's my one thing today in this class during this school day in this shift of work that if I do this part, I'm setting myself up for a good day tomorrow. So, spot on, Zach, right? I had to dig in, and we took a little pause there, but I had to dig into my my unorganized bookshelves. And good buddy of mine, Eric Kaufman. Eric, I don't know if you listen to these or not, but here's a shout out coming your way. Eric has worked with us for quite some time. He's now a teacher at a high school here in Connecticut, science teacher. So he doesn't spend too much time with Empower anymore. But a couple summers ago, Eric got married, and I had the opportunity to meet his grandfather, who Colonel Ray Kaufman Jr. Badass. He, older gentleman now. Got to meet him at Eric's wedding. He served our country many years ago. But he at the wedding, I had the opportunity to share a cigar with him. Obviously, and talk with him and get to know him. And he a few weeks, maybe a month later, he sent me this book.
Come on.
With a little note, says for Dan as promised, and that's how he signs it. I don't know if you can see it, but he's a cigar guy, so he signs a little face with a cigar on it.
With a cigar, yeah.
But the book is simple. It's called Make Your Bed: Little Things That Can Change Your Life and Maybe the World.
Yep, I've read it. Yeah.
And it's a book that was Admiral William McRaven. He actually gave this speech at, I think it was University of Texas, at their commencement, about you wake up in the morning and you have all these freaking things that can cause you to hesitate, can cause you to have doubt, or for your confidence to be flushed down the toilet. But if you can just start your day, make your bed. Right. And that might not be for everybody. It might be, I'm going to brush the heck out of my teeth or, whatever it is.
Whatever.
But our little conversation got me thinking about, Colonel Kaufman and his very nice gesture. And for anybody out there that's listening, that's also a reader, it's a very easy read, but it is absolutely worth it because it really highlights success in anything is not about like this one huge freaking commitment, task, whatever it is. It's really just a compilation of all those little things that we're doing on a regular basis. And when those things stack up, that tells a story.
Yeah, I mean, like you get a little bit spiritual on this one too, because like when people say speak it into existence, it means have the mindset of a winner, have the mindset of somebody who has already finished that big goal. And making your bed in the morning is something that that person would have done a year from now who has already completed that goal. Act like that person.
Yep.
And when you start acting like that person, making your bed, you're going to get into the mindset of, I hate to say the mindset of a winner, but the mindset of the person that's going to make those things happen for you that day.
Yep.
So it's not about the freaking bed. Who gives a crap about that? It's about putting you in the right motion, in the right track, and the right taskers to accomplish the goals that you want to accomplish today.
Yep.
And it starts with something very small, and then it just only grows from there.
So all together, how do we eat elephant? One freaking bite at a time,
One bite at a time.
Hey, thanks for checking out the Lead with Empower podcast. Hope you're enjoying them. Zach and I have a ton of fun doing them, and we're really trying to keep these things short, consumable, and share some information that that could be relevant to you and whatever it is that you're doing. So Lead with Empower podcast, check it out on our YouTube channel, Instagram at Lead with Empower, and excited, Zach. We got another great week of programming coming up next week. So hey, one bite at a time. Busy week. Let's dominate program number 1 so we can be in the best position to dominate program number 2.
Yes, sir. Let's get it.
All right, we'll see you soon.